Yeah, he's the one organizing. Actually, we did that. The chamber did it. Oh God, I think my second go around. So that would have been 12 years ago.
Call this meeting to order. Council work session Wednesday, September 19th. We're going to start with visitor comments. Coming up, and state your name for the record, please.
Nancy Whitney, St. Helens. I have a little statement I'd like to read you because as I am getting older, it causes me to remember everything I want to say.
Okay.
So, if you don't mind, I had a letter to the editor published last week in the Scappoose Spotlight. I don't know if any of you read it, but probably you should have. Because in the nearly 50 years I've been involved in praising and criticizing the city, the county, and the federal governments, I have not received as much positive feedback as I did with that letter. The petition for temporary closure of city streets was submitted by Tina Kennard, events director. In this petition was a declaration signed by Tina Kennard, attesting that she had notified all affected property owners, business owners, and or tenants in person or in writing that the written consents of each were attached. That was not true. And yet, Public Works Supervisor Neil Shepard also signed the petition, signed his name as a Public Works Director. It was marked that the City Council approved the petition, and City Recorder Kathy Payne attested that all was well and good on September 6, 2018, and signed her name saying so. As I asked in my letter to the editor, who the hell is running the city? It's been over 3 years since the city of St. Helens purchased the waterfront property, and none of the promises for the use of this land has come to fruition. There is no infrastructure for these waterfront events. There is no parking. There's no feasible ingress and egress. There's no forward planning, and the citizens are paying for these errors in judgment. I would suggest you all read the letter regarding the City Kennard Gemstone letter in last Friday's edition of the Spotlight. Read it on the Spotlight webpage and pay very close attention to the blue highlights in this article. Read all the emails received by the Spotlight under their request for public records. You know, that's similar to the Freedom of Information Act. Perhaps then you will be able to tell me who is running the city. Thank you.
Nancy, can I respond to your comments? Okay, I will this time. And what I do is I would like to respond by visiting our website, if you possibly could. And I know that some of the documents in there are hard to read. So what I did was I took the liberty of making a copy for you. This is what we have been busy doing. We, meaning the staff and the council, and coming from the community as well. So I think you'll find some very positive plans and a lot of work in that. So I'm just going to...
Sure, Doug, and I really appreciate you doing this. But it has been 3 years and there are things going on in the city that should not be going on. I'm not saying that all of you are not hard workers. I'm sure you are. But letting that petition get by you was unacceptable.
I understand, and I've just responding to your segment of planning on the riverfront development. That's it.
So in response to ingress and egress, we do have parking available for these events on the mill property. Yes, we do.
Well,
Now, wait a minute. Let me respond to the comments. The street closures, it's First Street and First Street only. It's not. We're not closing off access. There's parking. There is public parking behind the library. There will be paid parking down here at the mill for the visitors. Now wait a minute. I want a chance to speak, Nancy. Don't cut me off, please. We are running the city. This is a big, huge tourist event that brings in 40,000 tourists to our community. We had record number sales in our businesses last October.
that's excellent.
Yes, that is excellent for the whole city of St. Helens and actually, furthermore, Columbia County.
Now,
Because
Council,
it extended. Yes, you may.
okay, well, first of all, it wasn't 40,000. Last week it was 30,000. Before that it was 20. So I don't know exactly where you're getting your figures from. But also, the parking, part of the parking is showing going over Nob Hill, up 4th Street, over Nob Hill and down Cowlitz. In order for people to get to the businesses downtown, that is totally unacceptable. Little narrow 4th Street can't handle that. You need to look into it.
For the locals, the map of the tourist actually brings them down into the mill property. You need to get your facts straight and look at the
I
plan.
have my facts straight.
Okay, and look at the
But I don't
plan.
know how you're going to do
I
that
would
with the
appreciate it.
down
I would
there.
appreciate it that wish I'd have known minutes. I was notified by you at 9:27 Monday of your meeting at 10 o'clock. I wish I would have had more notice of your meeting with the merchants.
It was only a
Nancy.
conversation. It was not.
It was a meeting. I got the message on my phone.
I said, well, whatever you want to call it, I don't care.
And I did reply to you, and I wanted to know what you found out, and you never called me back.
Well, I.
'Cause
shared
you are a
the
resident.
information with, Doug Norton.
You are a resident. Well, I'm the mayor, and I would have liked to have known. Okay?
Well, you called, left a message, and didn't attempt to call me again.
Nancy, I left you a message and asked you to leave, call me back and let me know what was going on.
You were going to a ball game.
I was
I'm
going
not
to,
gonna stand
yes.
there and talk
Okay, I'm not either. I was at my daughter's volleyball game. You're right.
Yeah,
Yep, it's very important that I also be a father.
yeah.
Okay, I live in this community too. Okay, thank you for your comment.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Okay. So, any other visitor comments? Okay, we're going to do a length of service award to, first and foremost, Sherry Ingram has 20 years of continuous public service to the city of St. Helens. Sherry, you want to come on up? Sherry works in our Public Works Department. She's been very valuable to the city and continues to be of value to the city, and we appreciate all her service.
Sherry runs our public works department.
She is Neil's go-to gal. So. Okay. Thank you, Sherry. I'm getting ready to do that. I have to
Okay.
give Crystal a chance here.
Yes.
Crystal Farnsworth is working 2 jobs today. Okay, now I've asked Susan Kahn and Margaret Jeffries to present the next 2 awards. And I'll turn my mic back here, or you can grab the mic off the podium.
Okay? I don't know. So Diane Barbary has been working with us for 30 years. Nicole for 10 in our technical services department. They've been through the wars with Diane particularly with how many directors have you been there through?
4, 5, I can't remember.
So thank you both so much for your service. Margaret?
Is this even working? I want to thank both of these very valued employees. In the library world, we call technical services that part of library work that involves a lot of behind the scenes, cataloging items so that when you search for them in our online catalog, you can find what you're looking for. And a lot of the decisions that are made about what we stock on our shelves is also made by different parts of the collection that Nicole and Diane buy for. And that involves a lot of knowledge about what our community wants to read and what's new and available. And there are lots of other things like interlibrary loans and patron accounts, and they just really represent a lot of the backbone of the library and the institutional knowledge that's necessary to make the library run. So I really want to express my thanks to both of you for being a part of the library and making this commitment to our community.
Okay, we'll give Crystal just a minute here. Find out where we are with our judge.
For what?
I'm willing to do it, yes.
My department.
If I can get something printed up that I can, yeah. Okay.
I didn't.
I'd be honored
Oh.
to, actually. Yep.
To be able to.
We can stop at any time. That's what I noticed. Each judge is different. As long as we cover all the. Yep. Okay, we are getting something printed up on that.
I understand.
So how many people here are for the swearing of Adam? Nice. I've got to know Adam, and man, he's just a great guy. He's been a huge asset to the city so far as code enforcement, and he had aspirations of becoming an officer, and here we are today. You know, he went through the academy and passed all his tests, and a huge asset to our community, I feel. So just want to say some words before, yep. I apologize for this. Apparently, it was an oversight. Oh, really?
To reports.
Yeah, I think I will go ahead and I'm just going to move forward to, is Chief still here? I was going to do council report or department reports. Yeah, please. Because I know he's got something to talk about. I seen that he's doing a presentation. Not your fault, Chief.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor,
Not.
I'm trying to find the language, so I have actually, oh, go ahead, sir.
Go ahead. No, you're fine. But you are speaking, right? At the, is that this special invite, the 911 communications?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, that's for, cover that. Sorry about that. Slipped my line. It just happened yesterday. So, I'm putting on a presentation on 1 October. For those of you who don't know, I was the incident commander of the mass Las Vegas shooting at the Mandalay Bay Hotel, October 1st, 2017. And I think it's beneficial for our community, our law enforcement partners, our fire department partners and medical partners, and all first responders, as well as government employees, to see and get an overview of the events that transpired on that fateful day last year. Because once the initial event is over, we have to start working as a team to repair a city. Again, God forbid it ever happens anywhere again in our country or the world. But we just have to be prepared. So I think this will give everybody an overview of the event and go into what went right, what went wrong, and putting in processes in place to mitigate any type of event like this down the road. So if anything, it's captivating. It's not a shocking or gorish type of presentation, but it just opens your eyes and answers a lot of questions. And there's a lot of soul searching with each individual who is entrusted for the public safety and the community in whole to ensure that we're doing the right thing, and kind of sends a message that we have to work together as a community, not just law enforcement, but as a community to make sure that doesn't happen. So that's coming up next Tuesday, September 27th. Its seating is limited to the first 50 people who want to attend. And if necessary, I'll put on a second presentation. I have traveled around the United States and given this presentation to other jurisdictions. There's no classified information. It is sensitive information, but it's not classified. But the overall message to this is just kind of to make sure that we're all on the same page and moving in the right direction and putting processes in place, like I said. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have.
Okay, Chief Greenway, I also have a question. I don't know, you might have not been able to sit in on them, but for the, we have like an incident command center around Halloween Town, and traffic is also talked about. And I know that started long before you got here. Mm-hmm. But do you know any information, or can you give anybody information, especially after Miss Nancy Whitney was here, that all the ingresses and egresses and everything are looked at by fire department, the police department, ODOT, as far as I know.
Correct. Absolutely, Mr. Mayor. I've already attended our first meeting last month with our first responders, our county emergency management, fire department, medical, public safety, or public health department, and local law enforcement entities. And we're already working on the plan. The traffic is a concern for everybody for a few reasons. One, it could disrupt normal flow of activities for the community during that month, regardless of the date. And we're going to have plans in place, meaning to get the traffic into the event as smoothly and quickly as possible, and also when the event's over. And we'll have contingency plans, which simply means if traffic gets so congested or backed up, we have to reroute those individuals to another thoroughfare, we will. So we are working together. There are many eyes on this plan, meaning we're just not living in a box and just St. Helens Police Department's looking at it. We seek input from not only community members, but other first responders. And we just have to be conscious to make sure that if something does happen, no matter what it is, we're able to get resources into the area efficiently and as we can to help out. So we have another meeting set for September 27th that we are going to again discuss this, and I will be the incident commander for the entire month. And on the 13th, of October, we have the mobile command system, which will be here on site, as well as other federal, local, and state partners who are contributing to the overall safety of the event.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I just wanted to put that to rest, that we are running the city together as council, and staff, and that we are all on the same page. And yes, we know what's going on in our community. And yes, I am the mayor, and I am notified of every last detail. Okay? Make it clear for the record. Thank you, Chief Greenway.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sue Nelson.
Yeah. So you should all be fairly aware that soon, hopefully within a year, there'll be some construction going on Gable Road. That Gable Road west of the highway belongs to Columbia County. The plans are in development right now. They're at about the 90% stage, and construction is anticipated to start next summer. I'm not overseeing that project, but I'm involved with the county. Along with that, there's the adjacent section of Columbia Boulevard that extends between Gable Road, where the improvements will end, and Sykes Road, a little stretch along there. All of the properties on the easterly side of that stretch of road are currently annexed into the city. About half the properties on the westerly side of the road are annexed into the city. The county has asked me to find out from the city council if they do some paving on that section of road, would the city council be interested in accepting that section of roadway as a city jurisdictional right-of-way rather than the county continuing to maintain that? Once the complete Gable Road project is over with and all those improvements are installed, they will be turning that right-of-way over to the city because it will be built to our complete current standards.
So that would simplify things, right?
It would simplify things. It would eliminate a small island of roadway that would be isolated from other county roads for maintenance purposes. It helps law enforcement sometimes be able to respond correctly to an area where they may or may not have total jurisdiction. It helps emergency services dispatch somebody if there's a bad pothole in this road. Well, it looks like it's in the city. We'll send the city out. No, it's not our road. We can't go out. Yeah. So they're proposing just to pave it. Jenny's currently putting together a grant application to put some sidewalk on that road, but it won't widen the road out to its full developed width. So in the past, we have accepted other county rights-of-way when they haven't been built out to our complete standard, but they've been improved to a certain standard. And that standard has included 24 feet minimum width of paved roadway, minimum 3-foot wide gravel shoulders on both sides of the road, and adequate drainage. That's pretty much that's a minimum standard that we have accepted. An example of that road would be Gable Road on the east side of the highway, so basically from Walmart down to Old Portland Road. That was a county road for years and years, and just it's probably been 10 years ago now, but they turned that over. They paved it, fixed the ditches, and turned it over to the city, or asked if the city would accept it, and we did, meeting those standards. So that's their question. They're not asking you to accept the roadway right now. They're just wondering if they make plans to pave it, would the city be interested in accepting that?
And it would be paved to the 24-foot.
Yes, it's probably very close to that now. If it's
Okay.
and a portion of it exceeds that, but the majority of it's just a average paved width, and it's probably close to 24 as it is.
Sounds like that would solve some issues.
It could simplify some things, especially once the rest of Gable Road is turned over. But it'll be out in the future when this happens, a year or two from now.
That all sounds good.
Okay.
One of the issues that I might have is the duration. So since I've been on this council for the last 12 years, we've been waiting for this time to happen. And this time has taken 12 years. Prior to that, it had taken 4 or 5 or 6 years, according to the prior mayor. So you add those two together, we're thinking possibly of like 2 decades.
Yep.
Okay, my question is very simple. How much time will we have to maintain that? Is it going to be another 20 years for us to maintain that before the project goes through and the widening of the road and the city takes ownership?
Well,
What kinds of
it could-
guidelines do we have for the
Right.
timing of that?
Right. There is no specific timeline for that, for the full improvements on that roadway. A lot of it depends on development of the undeveloped properties that are adjacent to that. There could be additional opportunities for grants for the city to look into to do the improvements ourselves, but that would certainly be something we would look at a grant to do and not take away some of our small maintenance money to do the full improvements along that
Okay,
portion of
so the
roadway.
maintenance of this property that you're talking about is going to take how much per every 5 years?
Other than filling potholes, ensuring that the drainage ditches are cleared so that proper drainage and there's no localized flooding or anything like that, and striping it, putting the center line stripe down, which is probably less than $50. That's
Okay, so
the
there's-
extent of the daily maintenance. that
Okay,
would
so
be
my
needed.
concern of us accepting that responsibility is unfounded by any financial endeavors.
Well, Neil can correct me if I'm wrong. With snow plowing, that would be something that
okay.
we would end up needing to do when we had weather events.
In a lot of ways, that will be easier for, like snow plowing. So we get to the end of Gable Road, we have to turn around, make a U. This way we'll just be able to go down.
Okay,
Go
that's
from Columbia, tie into Sykes and do that. So it'll actually be kind of easier in a lot of ways for us.
that's what I wanted to hear. Thanks for your input.
So
And again, this wouldn't be something that we're asking for you to do this immediately, but they're wondering if you would even entertain it, if they should move ahead with planning on putting that paving in their budget.
I think so.
Mr. Locke?
Oh, I just want to add to Doug's comment here about us doing things and government timing and whatnot. 18 years ago, when I first got on the council, one of the first meetings I attended was the COLPAC meeting, which is the Columbia Pacific Economic Development District. And this project was second on the list
Yep.
18 years ago.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the first. I applied for a grant for it when I first got on board, and it wasn't even our road. But again, this is something that the county and the city, for the Gable Road portion of it, have had as their highest street priority in our transportation plans. Pretty much every kind of plan and priority list that you have. So we're thrilled to be able to have this grant opportunity to do this work.
I'm just referring to timing issues and some of the insinuations that we don't get things done. And I mean, just like the riverfront property, purchasing it took over 2 years.
Correct.
Just to purchase the property, let alone do anything. So.
Especially grant funding, it's a very slow process because there's funding from all different sources. You have to meet a lot of different criteria and go through a lot of hoops, get a lot of approvals from outside agencies, and it's just a slow process. We're at the mercy of those holding the purse strings. So.
And
But-
I'm in favor of us taking it over if it means them laying a little pavement down and making things work better.
They'll put the pavement down and then, yeah.
Yeah.
I like
So,
to refer.
okay,
I like
great.
to refer as government works as trying to turn an aircraft landing ship. It just doesn't happen like that. It's a slow process. Thank you, Sue.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Anything else?
I don't have anything else today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Neil.
I was just going to give a little update on a couple of the major projects we got going. The Gray Cliff Park restrooms has been a little bit of a holdup because we've been waiting for electrical service there at the PUD. That should happen in the next few days, so we should be able to start finishing that up. The Veterans Memorial, by the end of this week, we'll have the groundwork all done for that, so the contractor can start doing his thing. And Roger's forming that up now, so we kind of switched around a little on that. We were gonna do our sidewalks and stuff first, but because of the weather constraints, we can do that in bad weather because we can cover that part, but he's gonna need the better weather, so thanks to Jenny, she's made arrangements with the contractor to go ahead and do his stuff first. So that's kind of where those projects are at. That's all I got.
Thank you, Neil. Margaret?
Tonight in your packet, you'll have an intergovernmental agreement for approval between the City of St. Helens and the Scappoose Public Library District. That agreement was created by the attorney for the special district and then reviewed by our attorney. So it includes also the certificate of insurance for both organizations and vendor quotations, but that's on for tonight. The only other things I want to mention are a couple of programs we have coming up at the library. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, we have our 4th installment in a series that we've been doing for a year now called Civics for Adults. And it has to do with enhancing your civic knowledge and inspiring political engagement. And tomorrow night's topic is Beyond Voting, Elections, and Campaign Financing. And we thought this was particularly appropriate coming right before the midterms. And there are a lot of topics that are going to be touched on, everything from voter rights, voter fraud, the Electoral College, campaign finance. So it's, and dark money. We can't forget dark money. So anyway, it's going to be from 7 till 8:30 in the library, and it's been an interesting series. So join us if it sounds like something you'd like to learn more about and be prepared for what comes ahead in the election season. The other program that we have is going to be October 2nd at 7. We have a local resident named Rosemary Jeffrey who treks to the Himalayas every couple of years, and she has some really interesting stories to tell about how she climbs up and down and up and down and up and down all day long, and then looks at her GPS, and it just gives her progress as the crow flies, as if she's only gone a very short distance. But she goes to she's a teacher, and she goes to a village school and brings much needed supplies to the students there. But she says it's interesting working with people who have never seen a wheel, because obviously in their environment they have no ability to use wheeled vehicles. So it's going to be a very interesting talk. So that's October 2nd. That's a Tuesday at 7 o'clock, and that will be in the auditorium. So mark your calendar. That's all I have.
All right. Do we have something printed out for doing this swearing in? Because I want to. We're close. Okay. Matt.
Just a couple notifications on tonight's agenda on the authorization for signature are the lowest bid for replacing the roof on the Farah building. There's a portion of the flat roof that needs to be replaced before winter and snow comes. So that bid is on the approval for tonight's signature for the lowest bid. And the towing RFP that was requested at the last meeting is finalized and on the agenda for tonight to put that out tomorrow. And then if there are any council members that would like to sit on that rating committee, please let me know. And I'm sure I would love to have at least one of you on there, and then some staff members to review whatever RFPs do come back for that towing RFP. Other than that, we're still moving ahead with the I say rebuilding, but refinishing the Farah building after the old tenant has moved out now. We have found a few more things that are going to cost a little bit more money. So there's 3 heating and AC units on top of the roof. One of them is going to be removed when we do the new roof. There are 2 additional units on there that, from what the service provider came over yesterday to look at, according to his opinion, they have not been serviced for many, many, many years. So one of the units was officially condemned because it had holes in some of the heating and igniter for the heat, so it causes a carbon monoxide issue as well as a fire hazard for that unit. So that has been condemned and turned off and will need to be replaced. So we're getting quotes for that. I would guess $4,000 to $5,000 for that unit. And then the second unit is on its way out, but it is still humming along a little bit. So we don't need to replace it now, but it will be something in the very near future we probably need to replace. So those are some costs that we weren't anticipating, but kind of in my little soft budget that I have for that building, I do have some flexibility. So it's not a huge worry on there. The other big expense is the flooring inside. We ripped up all the carpet to put in some new flooring in that. Our original quotes were really right around $15,000 to $20,000 for flooring. That including the cost of the floor plus the labor to install and tear out. Public Works has tore out the carpet, so that saves us a little bit of money there. And I just got a confirmation from the St. Helens School District that the construction crew and the students that do all the housing rebuilding projects are willing to come in and donate time to actually do the floor installation.
Yes.
Great.
So that will save us a very pretty penny. So we just have to finalize the floor purchase and get that over there, and then they will install that probably in the month of October sometime. So things are starting to come together. Still a little bit of work to do, but we'll get there.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, we're going to take a break from department reports, and we actually got something printed up, and hey, Adam, you want to come on up here? Okay, we're getting ready to do an oath of office here for Adam Hartless. So I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Adam Hartless,
I, Adam Hartless,
being duly sworn, depose and say that I will
depose and say that I will
support the Constitution of the United States,
support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the laws therefore,
and the laws therefore,
and will faithfully perform the duties of police officer
and will faithfully perform the duties of police officer
of the City of St. Helens, Oregon,
of the City of St. Helens, Oregon,
to the best of my ability and understanding
to the best of my ability and understanding
during my term of office.
during my term of office.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I meant every word I said earlier about this man.
You do a badge.
I believe Adam's father's here to do a ceremonial.
Yes, nice.
After your photos.
Yep. He's got somebody close to as tall as him. I'm not quite, but I'm close.
I might need a step ladder.
Very nice to meet you, sir. Yep.
Get him hard. Get him hard. Payback time.
Well, we're going to get, if you want, congrats. Come on, guys.
Yes.
Remember your presentation.
Nice.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry about that. We had to go back to the station to get my old copy, so I apologize. But it was all, he was sworn in officially last week by the judge. This is more ceremonial, so I apologize about the delay.
So, Adam, I don't know if this will be worth anything any day, but I signed as a judge because I am the honorable.
Adam took my milk money in high school.
Thank you. That's the type of stuff that makes this job worthwhile, right there. So, and the also the length of service.
Well, you know how to clean. You sure know how to clean out a room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna bring your mic back for you, because I know you're probably. Okay, I'm going to ask Tina Curry to come up and give a report.
First wagon, that's fantastic, isn't it?
Okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear it? It's
Mm-hmm.
really hard to tell. I wanted to just ask a couple of questions on the upcoming Halloween activities. One of the things that I realized is we are probably going to spend about $5,000 to $6,000 on porta potties. And I can't remember who, but somebody brought to my attention, in fact, maybe it was Thad, that, you know, we should look at possibly maybe you want to buy some, because we could sure use them in some of the parks when there's events going on and there's not enough bathrooms and, you know, other activities now with the new Parks and Rec department. We could probably use them more than you think we could. And so my question is, we're going to spend about the same amount of money just in 1 month. Should we be looking at maybe buying some bathrooms and then renting a few more because of the announcement yesterday, or do you want to just stay as it is? I mean, it's kind of the same money, but I'm just asking.
I have a question first. When we rent them, my understanding is that they also maintain them, and
Yeah, but the maintenance you
So-
can just pay piecemeal. So, for instance,
so the maintenance would be handled by for this.
Hudson. Mm-hmm.
But if we purchase them, then we'll be
Same
responsible
thing.
for the maintenance.
No, they you can hire them to do the maintenance, and it's
Okay.
$25 every time they come.
Okay.
So
That's my question.
I know that they wanted to sponsor the city projects.
Well, they are a sponsor.
Okay.
I'm
that-
not saying we're cutting them out. I'm just saying that.
No.
You know.
So listen to me for a second. I've been in contact with Herb Bailey.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he said that he would like to make sure that we have more than enough, and he's willing to work with us on price. So do you?
Yeah, I had a meeting with him about 25 days ago, I think, and you know, I wanted to talk to you guys about this before we make a commitment of how many we're going to have. But one thing that we are changing this year is that there will be no bathrooms in the parking lots. They will all be in a bank like they are at every event. So we don't
Yep.
have to tell people there's 2 down there, but those ones are full. And this one, you know, everyone will know that they can just go to the bank.
Yeah,
It's the
good.
same as, you know, every other event, basically.
Do we have storage for them?
Well, that would be a question for Neil.
Neil?
Just to answer that question, yeah, there's plenty of room down the Boise property at this point. White paper site that we could store some, but
And then so
I don't know that we really need them. I don't know what Thad's thinking about as far as what he could use them for, but right now, most of the events that go on in the parks that require those, we put on the Little League and those people to supply those. So
we definitely could use some in the parks, my feeling. And the second part of my remark is that somebody needs to give us a figure of what you already said that it's going to cost around 6,000 for how many, and if we buy, how many. So we need a little bit of
done that math.
comparison facts to see if we're going
Yep.
to get our money's worth in the long run,
Right.
rather
So-
than just in the annual short term.
Yeah, absolutely.
To make our to make our decision.
Yeah.
So do you need our decision real quick, like? And so if you do, we'd like to have some financials
Yeah,
real quick,
right.
like, if possible.
That's
I don't
no
know if a
problem.
quick phone call to Hudson or to
Well,
whoever
I've got the report from, I've got their quote, so we have that, but I'm not talking about cutting like our business up with Hudson. I'm talking about augmenting what we're already going to be spending.
But what
And
the-
they're
we need
about
to see a
$150 to $200 a piece to buy them. And sorry, that's wrong. That's wrong. Sorry, that's way too low. It's what I was going to say is that we could get 10 bathrooms for the same amount of money that we're currently spending.
on how
On
currently
10
spending on how
bathrooms.
many?
10.
Oh, okay.
And we have six additional here and 4 additional in the museum, and then of course there's other restrooms around town. But I'm just saying that it might be nice if you do need them some other times during the year, you have them there and you can lock them, so that's good too. I would recommend that we're going to be using more than 10 for this upcoming, especially the weekend of the 13th.
Then a follow-up question. Who owns them?
You do.
Would that be the city? Mm-hmm. Then will the city be purchasing them in that sense? And if so, out of what funds? Do
Well,
we know?
it would be, I'm just saying it's like sometimes we make purchases with tourism, like we bought the vendor carts.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, the vendor carts were all paid for within the last 2 years. So this year, our vendor carts are now an asset that we rent, and we helps to pay for our tourism.
And that's
events.
the city.
Mm-hmm.
The city owns that.
Yeah.
So Matt, with this proposal of purchasing the portalettes or porta potties, then who would have jurisdiction over that? Would that be the parks personnel? Would that be Public Works? How is that going to work?
We could always talk to Thad to see how many that he would specifically like for parks, and we could have parks actually buy however many, whether that be 2 or 4, or however many that is. That way, they could be used for events, but they can also be specifically used for parks if they're not in use or need to be used elsewhere. That way, the park.
So I'm hearing a 50-50 kind of thing through tourism and through parks as
yeah,
well.
whatever that
Okay.
ratio could be.
And you could figure that out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
I'm done.
okay,
And how long do they last?
a long time. Yeah, they're pretty ballistic. I mean, I think
Is
they
it
kind of have a
plastic one?
lifetime warranty. Yeah. They're like very tough. Yeah.
Okay.
And then of course, so I'll get back to you on the exact numbers so that you guys can look at them. But I did do some research already. I'm like, we're already spending this money. Maybe we should look at purchasing some, renting some, and then then saving money down the road, because they each end up costing us about $600 a piece by the end of the month.
Neil?
One other thing we need to look at, one of the reasons that we put the weight on the little leagues and things like that was to reduce our budget as far as maintaining. So we need to look,
Bathrooms.
yeah.
Yep.
So we need to look at that too, probably.
Sure.
What,
Absolutely.
I don't know what Thad's, I'd have to talk to Thad, see what he's.
Well, he
thinking
just
about where
mentioned
he's
it in
going.
passing.
If he
It wasn't a big,
needs 5 of them and he's gonna have them all year round, then we gotta look at what it's gonna cost to maintain those out of the park budget.
Okay, so get that information too.
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt your presentation, but I could see that this is something that needs to be acted on here pretty quick, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do it this year, yes.
okay,
Yeah.
right.
So can I ask how many they're suggesting you have?
Well, I think Herb would want us to have 20 some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for that price, though, what she mentioned.
No.
No, she's talking about 10.
I'm
And-
talking
and-
about like 10 to 13.
She's
for,
talking about
like,
renting some
Right.
and buying some.
Right.
They will sit here. They
Where
will-
where did we get that number from?
which number?
The 20? That
Herb.
we need 20?
10.
Herb.
From
Herb
Hudson.
wants us to have 20,
From
but
Hudson.
I'm saying that, okay, let's add up the ones we have,
Oh.
and we're super close. So if we rent 10 to 15 from him, we will have, 20, we'll have more than 24 bathrooms.
That's for
Okay.
Just
Does that comply with the health department
Yeah.
requests for events?
Yep.
That's it. That's
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I've already been in touch with the health department.
Okay.
And one of the things that the chief wasn't maybe super aware of is that we've had a meeting already, which John was at, with the CERT, the police department, the fire marshal,
I just had
ODOT.
Chief Greenway give a
Yeah.
explanation on that. So
Yeah, no, I mean, this was a long time ago. And so now we're just coming back to it again and looking at the new traffic plan.
Yep.
And he's all over it. He's on it. So
he just spoke of that.
Yeah.
Earlier. He missed
Yeah.
it. That's all right.
So we're meeting on the 27th for that. Yep.
I just wanted to comment, since we're thinking of purchasing bathrooms and whatnot, but in an event, my experience is that women will form a line of 50 to go to
Yes.
a real restroom
Yep.
versus a porta potty.
Yep.
You got that right.
And men go right through them, so it only takes one to do a whole bunch of guys.
Right.
So anyway, just food for thought.
Well, most of the bathrooms that we rent are unisex. They're not for, they're for anybody.
Well, I
who wants
understand
to
that.
use
But I
them.
don't care what they're for. But like I say, I mean, if we are thinking about long term and events, maybe we need to look at grants
Well-
for expanding our real restrooms.
That would be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, we are talking about an expansion of the park in the waterfront redevelopment. So I think all
More
this
bathrooms.
is good.
Good idea.
A good topic to bring up then. So
So the other thing I want to let you know is that we have a record number of vendors that are participating this year, and which is a good thing because the Klondike is not going to be reopened by October 1st. So we're trying to kind of augment that a little bit because we know that they did record business during Halloween. So we do have a lot of food vendors and different options that people are going to be able to enjoy in the square. And then as well, we have some new, a new citywide sponsor in T-Mobile, which is moving into town, setting up shop, which is kind of exciting because that's another new business. And we already had the Jane Garcia team move in down here. We had Woodland Cottage move back to town. And we have some new people that are looking at space on the corner across from the Klondike. And the Klondike apparently has a number of people that are vying for that space. So we'll see what happens. And there, we have also Sweet Relief is coming back in, and they are going to help sponsor the shuttle. So that's great for dropping people and moving people around town. We're also working with, I have some others that are close to coming on board. So as everybody has probably heard in this town, I'm not sure if it's in any other towns yet, but Marnie's character will be here for Halloween Town, and Kimberly J. Brown will be coming on the 13th. So I think we will have 100% of the cast here. And I'm still working to try to get the Philip character that might be able to come. He's got some family things that he needs to reorganize or arrange to try to make it here. So we are looking for, on the 13th, it will be, I'm sure, very busy as it has been in the past. And we're just preparing as much as we possibly can for that specific day.
So are we back to having the pumpkin lighting on one night, or are we going to do it every weekend?
No, we're still doing it every weekend on Saturday because we have people lined up to come and light it. So,
Right.
And people last year, so many people were like, "I'm going to miss the pumpkin lighting. Don't you do it more than one time?" So we're like, "Well, we
Okay.
will next year."
So Tina, can you elaborate a bit how that came about with Kimberly Brown coming to our town. Just summarize it so that our citizens know what had happened and that we aren't paying an extra 20 or 30,000 or 40,000 or 50,000 to bring her here. Are we saving money? Just enlighten how that happened, because I think that's important.
So I'm going to speak on that a little bit because I can, and I'm not bound by contract, and I was notified and kind of in the loop, and was brought in by Craig Merlado. Did I say that name right?
No.
It's Mercado.
Mercado, yes. And I apologize for your mess up your name, Craig. But Craig had found it kind of odd that what was going on and reading through the news articles and everything that had been printed and the debacle between the city and Shedco, which we've tried to reach out and do as much as we could to make that go away. I have a witness here that I met with the chair, Al Peterson, at the time and asked him to start working with the city, and he said it's not going to happen, basically. And but me and Councilor Locke continued to reach out to meetings, go to their meetings, Shedco meetings, 4 of them, as a matter of fact. And then we finally gave up. Yes, Susan had gave up before that and actually had a rough go. So that's neither here nor there. But what happened is we got a deal that is really almost identical to last year, and she's coming. Yep. So that's it in a nutshell, is what I need to say. It might even be a little bit cheaper. Tina, by notifying us of the contract, how she's told us it was out of reach, saved this city tens of thousands of dollars. Okay? I mean, I know Chris may have played a role in this last little bit, but it was really Tina who said this is not what this caliber should be making for this event. So.
But it was a council decision.
That's
you
right.
guys decided
Yes,
that you
we
were
were
not
notified
going
of it.
to pay that amount of money.
We were notified of it
That
the
was-
whole time
Yeah.
on reports, sometimes.
Well, or directly.
Yep.
The amount was way out of line.
Yes. So that's what it is, Doug. I didn't want to put Tina on the spot because of everything that's been going on. If you haven't watched social media or the paper, she's getting hammered hard. And I feel it's something that we need to address because we are running this city. And I'm tired of comments out there. It's a brutal world on social media where people would not say things to other people's face. We all live in this community. It's a great community. We should really start to come together instead of this division over these little things that are supposed to be meant to have fun. And now they're turned into this big, ugly thing.
I'm glad I asked that question because it allowed you to expound on something that I think is extremely important. All this entire council and our staff needs to hear that and needs to hear it from you, our mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Tina.
Okay, so we have a lot of activities that are going on all month long. More are even being added as we speak. And there are new people in charge of various events. American Family Insurance and Guild Mortgage stepped up to do the parade.
Yep.
They worked with the Chamber of Commerce to move the parade that they had put in place of the parade that wasn't happening, but then got revitalized by American Family Insurance and Guild to accommodate both happenings. So those are going to be coinciding with other community activities, so we're not overlapping.
Big shout out to Heather Epperly and American
Yeah.
Family on that for pulling together and bringing that, because that's a huge little thing that we have going on here, tradition. So
It's an undertaking. So she is doing that. The chamber is really stepping up and doing 3 different activities that are brand new. I also want to say that the other new neighbor that isn't really a new neighbor that has moved into town is Shoestring Players, and they have a brick and mortar now where right next to 2C's Marketplace. And they have a variety of activities that they're going to be doing during the month that are Halloween related. And it's my understanding, although I haven't talked directly to Brian, he sent me an email that they're going to be bringing back like the community theater and doing some really cool stuff. So that's a welcome. That's another welcome presence on First Street.
I understood the same thing you did as far as bringing back more events, not only just now,
Yeah.
but in the future.
And not having to probably work around the school and all those rules and regulations is probably a lot easier.
I think they're bringing back haunted tours, and they're doing a play called Radio Days, and I don't know.
Yeah, they're going to do the radio show, and they're also going to do a new program, which is like 10 poems and stories for kids and families. And another activity that they were kind of like explaining, but I said, send me the information. I'll just put it on the agenda because they have, people auditioning for different things, and it changes a little bit here and there.
I'm really happy to see them have.
Yeah, that's cool. Then the other thing that's happening is the Top Notch Thrift Store is going to be doing activities within the store for some of the more local families that need activities to bridge some gaps on weekends that we're not super busy. So that's kind of cool too.
Good work, Tina.
And then the Harvest Festival, of course, it's coming back, and the ball and everything else.
Yes, everything else that's added to it.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
the Windermere Ball. Yep.
Yep.
Goody
And the
fundraiser
Boot
event.
Scoot and Barn Dance,
Yep.
and there's a lot of fundraising going
Boot
on.
Scooting and Barn Dance is
Yeah.
actually Saturday, October 6th, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Great
Mhm.
fundraiser. So
And we have a new thing that's being put on by the quilting people that's going to be Halloween related as well. There's a lot of new things going on, and the schedule is changing every 20 minutes.
I can't
with
help but
updates,
think that
you know.
what Halloween Town has become has spurred a lot of these. I know the Windermere and but do help,
Those
but
existed.
do definitely, yes, they've existed for a while, but they do kind of help enhance those events too, just because they're related too. So I
1,000 times.
Yes, I would like to think so too myself. So and I would encourage any business owner that feels that they're going to be affected in a negative manner over this, that they approach, give me a call. I always have my cell phone on me. You can call down to City Hall if you don't have my number. It's 503-396-1653. I always have it on me. That's my business too. I do answer or return phone calls to call me and tell me your concerns, or I hope if you do the right marketing and that you really benefit from this event, and if you have done the necessary marketing and you did not make out like you felt you should on a Saturday, like normal Saturdays, please call me and let me know.
You're also available on Facebook, especially if you're in a boat and doesn't have a motor on it, right?
Right here. Yeah, I made the news. That's true.
I was going to bring that up because I saw Officer Heartless here, right? And I'm like, oh, Rick's getting all this attention for being a hero, but people don't know that last year, right before the pumpkin lighting ceremony, we had this major issue with a cable that wasn't exactly long enough or something, and the guys that were putting the cables in the park were like, how are we going to get this cable? We can't even drive. Their traffic is hellacious. We're going to take like an hour to get to Walmart and back. And we
Do you
gotta
remember
be
they
back.
actually unscrewed the coaxial ends that we had there?
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah. So
somebody did that, a resident,
Yeah.
or somebody had actually unscrewed it, and it was not. Chris, your husband is like, it's not there.
Yeah. And he was
he
assisting the AV person that was on duty, and they're like, we don't know how we're going to get this cable. So I'm like, call the cops. so Officer Heartless put on a siren and took him to the Walmart to get the part.
Yeah, because we were literally.
They're like, we don't really do that. I'm like, Halloween doesn't happen until this
We were
goes.
minutes away from doing all that, and it was not available.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's right, Chief Greenway. Okay, Tina, anything else?
I think that's it. People know that they can email me or call me because I get a million messages through the Facebook pages, and we have a lot still going on and coming in, and people trying to figure out how can they be part of it, and there's a lot of last minute details. So yeah, we'll get it done.
Okay,
Thank
you. Crystal, do you have anything to report?
If you hadn't seen already, Chief Greenway didn't bring it up, but we have a new program that's starting for the police department called First Thursday. The first one is scheduled for Thursday, October 4th in the Columbia Center Auditorium at 7 p.m. And it's a monthly meeting for the community to come hear an officer give a presentation about a different safety topic each month. And then just kind of connect with other community members about safety issues. So I would encourage you all to attend that first one.
And it was spearheaded by Chief
Yes.
Greenway. Yes. Yep. Okay. Thank you. John.
Okay. First of all, I share a note of appreciation from the Lions Club for the city's donation back in June. So there's I'll pass that around if anyone wants to see that. Yeah, earlier this afternoon we heard about how slow the city is and hasn't done anything for all these years, but there's, to the contrary, been quite a bit of work on that, and I think it's time for a check-in. I've tentatively reserved the October 17th at 6 o'clock for a forum of sorts to kind of check in on the waterfront, have our planning and community development staff give presentations. A potential developer is going to come and talk about the project and the status of where he's at, and his other projects, the one down in Independence that's coming out of the ground right now, and the successes of the other similar projects he's done and what it's meant to those communities. And I think that's a good check-in. As far as the timing issue, we've been working on this pretty actively since 2014, and in that year, there was a number of mill sites around the region that we were kind of modeling. There was the eWeb site down in Eugene, which is a Boise mill. There was the Salem mill. Oregon City has a project, and they're all doing good work. And I felt like they were ahead of us in many regards because they had been doing it longer. It seems like we're kind of nosing to the front of that pack because they have all these other things that have come up and really slowed them down. So it's, I think comparative to our peers, we're doing great. But I just wanted to kind of point out in the local focus is
Let cities work.
Let cities work, but it also the council voted on legislative priorities of what are the city's top priorities that the League of Oregon Cities should be advocating for, and it's kind of interesting that our list kind of was pretty par with the rest of it. If you haven't read the article, I encourage you to. The league's going through something of they have a new director, and it's kind of a new day at the league. But the top six were mental health investment was number one, revenue reform, cost containment, that's talks about the PERS and taxation, housing and homeless, which is one of the tops on our list, infrastructure finance, resilience investment, right-of-way franchise fees, authority preservation and broadband investment, and lastly, the third-party building inspection preservation, which is something we heard a lot about down in Lincoln City as far as cities not having the ability to contract out third-party for review and staffing services for buildings specifically, but more globally, what that might mean bigger term if we needed a contract engineer or somebody to come in and fill in for a little niche. So a lot of good work. I've been talking with the Scappoose Rural Fire Protection District on an intergovernmental agreement. You'll probably see this soon. It's in regards to their fire life safety plan review services. We have agreements with the county and other cities. This is just one more agreement with the fire district to do those plan review services. That's an upcoming meeting. Tina covered Halloween pretty well. It's been a little bumpy here, but all in all, we're hoping for there's a net positive in here. We get focused on the little things, but Halloween is a really good thing for the city, the county, the region.
Yep.
And I'll conclude with that.
All right. Council reports. Councilor Locke.
I think I'm going to save mine for this evening.
Okay. Councilor Carlson.
Couple of things. I know I'll start with what we're going to do, and then I'll answer with my question. Is Youth Council has decided to move forward with selling the reflectors, and we're in the process of signing up for Fall Festival. They purchased these reflectors like 3 or 4 years ago, and we have a lot of Halloween motif. but we usually do Christmas bazaars. So we thought maybe we'll get a jump on it and do the fall festival, which is designed for kids, and it's a perfect opportunity to sell those items. So we're going to be doing that the first weekend of October and just kind of support St. Frederick's and all the good work they do. The other thing that open houses for the high school and the middle school are this week. We're looking at recruiting opportunities. Club Rush is next week. So we're excited about getting an updated flyer with current photos and to be marketing as an opportunity for the kids to grow their leadership and service opportunities. The one thing that Councilor Locke had mentioned to the Youth Council like a year ago is about having an open house, and we talked about it again last night, and it just never really got traction. But I mentioned an idea that Council President Morton talked about taking our meeting kind of like a road show and like going to the school and doing something like that. And the kids seemed interested in an opportunity in which they would be the facilitators and maybe the council would be present to answer those government questions and let the kids talk to us directly and say what will it take to keep youth that they make them want to stay here, and just go to them and see if we could partner with the school that way. And I just thought I'd run that opportunity by the council to see whether they'd be interested in pursuing that as a opportunity with the school.
Yes.
Good idea.
Absolutely, and I think the school actually already reached out to you and I.
Yes.
And
The youth
social
council
study,
would like to kind of be
the facilitator.
Keith and I've done a day in Mr. Muson's class for the last few years.
It's
But
a new
this is-
social studies teacher, though.
This
that
is
was
stretching
reaching out.
beyond the social studies, because when we go to Mr. Muson's or social studies, that class is not required for every grade level. What the youth council would like to do is open it up to an all youth event. So like everybody that fits the youth council age, everybody 7th grade and up could come and ask questions.
So on the open house, what did they do for that? So I think it was last night, wasn't it?
Right. No,
6 o'clock?
the high school is tonight, starts at 5:30 tonight and goes till 8, but that is a
Oh, I
tight
thought it was
schedule. There
last
is
night at
not a
6.
single minute left over tonight. It's tonight. It's 5:30. It's check-in time.
Oh, was it meet the teachers in yesterday?
Meet the teachers tonight. I don't know what yesterday was.
I thought it was yesterday.
And then
Okay.
tomorrow is the middle school. But both of those events at this late hour are scheduled. Every minute of those events is
Okay.
scheduled. So what I'm thinking of is away from the beginning of the school year, we can talk to the school district and see, maybe get the PTO involved and see what we might be able to do to collaborate, to really get some information out there to get young people excited about our government, and also just a listening opportunity for us. We're doing all of this forecasting and visioning and planning, and I've been part of it for the last 6 years, and I haven't seen a huge representation of those under 25, and it would be nice to hear their words too. So the other items that I had was this Saturday is the suicide prevention walk, and Susan and I had an opportunity to talk to Brianne Mayers, our CIT coordinator, and I know that they're looking at least my interpretation is they're looking at editing that work down and maybe making some smaller package deals for, maybe not for law enforcement, because there's stuff that they teach law enforcement that's not appropriate for court employees and not appropriate for service providers, but there's a lot of meat in that program that could benefit other people in our community. So maybe there's an opportunity that we can do some trauma-informed care and suicide prevention outreach in some of these parent groups and service provider groups as well. We just got such a great great partnership and great asset in Brianna. It'd be nice to maximize that as best we can. The one other thing that, and I know we've talked about this before, but it seems like it comes up on social media and in conversations about the park expansion at Columbia View Park. A lot of people don't remember. People think that the area over there where people park for 13 nights is going to become a parking lot, but this council's already made the decision that's all going to be Columbia View Park, and I don't think the community is clear on that we all were here and we can't keep track of it, but I think that the community at large doesn't realize that even though there's gravel there now, it's going to be park.
Right.
And we are looking for grant opportunities, and just think a better communication, better PR of the work that we have done.
I think that will, October 17th, that John was talking about, will be kind of a clarification.
Cross my
too.
fingers.
Yes.
So that's all I have.
Yep. Okay. Councilor Khan.
Continuing at that, yes, I believe the community doesn't understand that. They see us spending a lot of time planning, and things happen slowly as we have the funding to do that. And I'm sure it's frustrating for them to watch the progress, but we are making progress. And I second everything you said about CIT. And the Out of the Darkness Walk is from 8 to 11 at Scappoose Middle School on Saturday. Saturday is a busy day. There's also a community open house at the Senior Center from 11 to 3, and Suzanne Bonamici Town Hall at 2 p.m. at Scappoose Middle School. So Saturday's full, and then I have them in the evening too. So
Good luck with all that.
on the library board, there are 4 positions open, and they're doing interviewing prior to the recommendation of appointments, which will probably be at the next meeting. Yesterday, John and I attended, we're on the Columbia County Tourism Steering Committee, and they met yesterday, and they're representatives from all around the county, and they're looking to the future of tourism countywide, all of the opportunities. They've done some work on finding out where the focus should be and what people want out of it. And what was it? The top ones seemed to be outdoor recreation, bicycle tourism, water activities, and waterfront development. Waterfront development?
I think waterfront was the top one, and outdoor recreation, including the river, was second.
Yeah, so I want to see as much focus on the river as we can. I want to see activities that highlight the river. That's my personal view.
Yep.
I think that's it.
Okay. Council President Morton.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the individuals. The swearing-in ceremony, I think, went well, considering everything that was kind of array at that time. And especially the years in service, the library people, and I have a big handout to Sherry, our person who's been in Public Works ever since I've been here, and extremely well deserved. And I just want to make certain that they get acknowledged from the council again. I think that's very important. A bit of follow-up on John's report with the League of Oregon Cities and what we're doing with the legislative review initiatives and how that all works. When we vote on what's going to be important at the League of Oregon Cities with, and mental illness is at the top, that forms committees throughout the state and throughout the regions of volunteers from councils and staff members to participate in kind of a brainstorming session of how the League of Oregon Cities will lobby the legislature for each one of those issues that was chosen. So that's how that all works, and it's a year-long process. And I've sat on a few of those committees, and they are very productive, and they have been productive as they lobbied through the legislative process. So look for those committees once we have our convention and we vote on those issues that go forward. It's a very worthwhile endeavor to become a part of that whole system. One of the things that I got a call from, Nancy called me, Nancy Whitney, and I suggested that she come down here and air her opinions because I couldn't quite answer everything that she was asking over the phone. And one of the things that she was asking that I had a hard time with was our process of street closure. So now, she started pointing the finger at the process of going through and getting every signature of every residence and every business person, and she took the liberty of calling up a few people, residents and business people, and they said, we don't know. And so I'd like to see the process streamlined so that hold on. I'd like to see the process streamlined so that they make certain that if residents know somehow, if they know that they can come forward if there's a problem, and make certain that we have the police and the fire people sign off, and apparently all of that needs to be documented, because what Miss Whitney was telling me, that it was not documented properly. And I go, I didn't want to get into it at all. So I just invited her down to air her opinions. And hopefully, I don't know if that was heard or not. But from my point of view, I think we need to clean up that process a little bit so everyone understands and they want to check for accountability that it is indeed there. Okie doke? That's my opinion, and I'd like to see have the staff hear that a bit.
I think it is policy. I mean, what you just said already is policy, Doug. Everybody's shaking their head. Yes, it is policy.
Yes.
You cannot get a street foreclosure without going and getting signed off from the city, the chief, or the fire marshal, or public works.
Well,
And
wait
each
a second.
resident?
Wait a second now. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
But you
the
got
Kiwanis
your-
Parade, I've been getting permits for it for several years now.
Yeah.
And that parade, because it's been going for so long, that parade, I do not have to get signed off for that because it's an annual parade, and somebody in the city just signs off on it. Because it's an
That's
annual
what I'm
parade,
talking
everybody
about
knows
being
it.
streamlined, so that Tina does not have
So
to
there
go
can
to
be
every
exceptions.
every resident who is affected.
Keith, it may be done by the city, but it's still got everybody's signature on it. We do not break our own rules because we're the city of St. Helens. I had to follow my event for Citizens Day in the Park, which I'm putting together the last 2 years. I've had to fill out all the paperwork
Yes.
correctly, not just because, even though it's a city event.
Oh, I know. I understand that.
Okay, we follow our own
the
rules.
The Kiwanis Parade, though, yeah, is
But I
one
would
thing that
I would think that you probably, it's probably being done without your knowledge by
No.
city staff.
There was a permit for the Kiwanis Parade.
I know she
There
said
was a
that you
permit,
signed
yes.
off on it.
Yes, there is a permit. But the street closure, I think
Yeah.
I don't know if I get signatures, but we just put on there not applicable on
Well,
the
there's-
street closure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of permits for different things. Street
Yeah.
closures and parades
Yeah.
are different than street closures.
I didn't mean to open a can of worms, but what I wanted to do is make certain that I weighed in on behalf of a citizen call that I didn't know how to quite answer when they said they had in their hands a permit without signatures on it. And where they got that, where that person got that permit
That was a
di-
copy. That's public
was
record. So they probably didn't have signatures attached to it.
I'm gonna have to let
well, I
Tina.
just got my answer apparently. So
I
if
told you that on the phone.
I have to let Tina Curry answer this because
Come
she
on,
has the
Tina.
answer.
Let's get the rest of the story.
And I just want to get this straight from.
Okay, well, this is where Nancy's confusion came from. And because someone came into the front desk and was asking which streets we were going to be closing for Halloween Town. And the streets that we are closing for Halloween are just First Street stopping at Cowlitz. And the merchant that came in and asked said, oh, that's perfectly fine. I'll just tell them to come down the drive that goes kind of by Knob Hill.
Back down like Nancy had stated.
And she goes, but last year that was all blocked off and we didn't even know about it, et cetera, et cetera. And unfortunately, that was a Shedco event that we had nothing to do with.
Oh.
So this is the confusion that is going on.
got it,
Grandma Agnes.
And I want to bring up one other topic of confusion about these signatures. Okay, so Stephanie, who works for me, I hire Stephanie to help do things that need to get done that we do not have enough time to do, obviously. Stephanie has gone to every merchant that is in the First Street area and gotten a signature saying that they are aware of the street closures for the weekends in Halloween Town. Now, what people refuse to believe, even though we have told them this 100 times now, is that when other groups in town do the parade up here on Columbia Boulevard It is then on them to get the street closures and the signatures because it is their event. It is not a city event. And it is my understanding that Heather went door to door and basically got signatures from pretty much everybody. But the onus would be on the people putting on the parades to get those signatures. Once the signatures are collected, this is what we do and this is what they do. Once we collected all the signatures, then we put our plan in place, and it is signed off by the police department. It is signed off by the fire marshal. So
And Public Works?
and Public Works, if they're helping
Works.
with street closures and things like that, yeah.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is that that's the confusion. Everybody lumps everything into it's the city, and it is not the city.
Sometimes it's the
It-
chamber.
But we follow the rules. Every one of the events that we do, the rules are followed, the signatures are gotten, and we have copies of the signatures. But it is not, I have to say, I was reading some documentation. It is not, demanded that you get a signature from every person to do a street closure. You
Is it
can
a
still,
percentage?
I don't know, you guys need to go back and look at that,
It's
but.
if the store's open or not, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And but you do have to get the police department to sign off on it, as well as all the other people that are affected by that street closure.
Okay.
So there's some confusion because other groups are just all lumped into the same basket.
Okay.
Thank you for
Yeah.
clarifying.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
Thanks
She
for
was back there,
clarifying that,
jumping
without
up.
a doubt. Appreciate that. Got two other remarks. One, I think I brought up some time ago, and hopefully we can get this sooner than later, and so it'd be kind of a good thing if we had an action item on this from the council. Really like to see something happen with the Cascade Tissue sign, rather than having it.
All agree.
That's
And
funny.
yeah, well, really, because those
years.
trees are getting drier and drier,
need to
and
be-
every time I drive by there, it's like a huge eyesore, and it
blinking
should
light.
say.
Actually, we need Public Works to yank all that because it is dying. It's dead. It did not make it this summer. Those cedar trees are gone. They need to get pulled. So
Are we
it's gonna
okay
take heavy
with
equipment.
everyone?
Yeah,
Okay
it was
with
on my
that?
list.
Yep. Yep.
Bring your
Neil,
hot
you okay
dogs
with
and
that?
marshmallows
Yes.
3
days from now.
City bonfire.
Okay.
Yeah. City bonfire.
Just clarification, you're just talking about the trees. though.
Yeah,
The
not
dead
the
one.
shrubs. Not the sign. No.
Not all 40 acres. No.
But
If you want to get some shrubs that don't look right, do that too. But there's probably some that might be worth saving. I'm not sure.
Okay, and a huge kudos to Public Works and to the department heads of Public Works for accounting for accountability. Now, I don't know how many councils have looked through the packet, but if you look through the packet, we have accountability of all 5 departments in Public Works that gives what they have done over the last 2 months, and that is unbelievable accountability. And you can look at that under the department reports and in Public Works. The 5 departments that we have reporting is engineering, water filtration, wastewater, maintenance, and parks. So they all have their log of what they have done individually every day for every project. And how can we be more accountable for our Public Works staff than that? So that's all a matter of public record, and I think that sets a good precedent for our council to look at and possibly encourage our staff to follow that process for accountability. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I would just like to touch base on League of Oregon Cities. Getting ready to go to that in Eugene coming up. yeah, the new director of the league seems to be a stud. I was introduced, fairly new hire 2 or 3 months ago.
Maybe a little bit longer than
Yeah,
that.
but I was
relatively
introduced at the Mayor's Association down there in Florence conference, and seemed like a well-rounded. Seems like a breath of fresh air coming in. So I'm looking forward to going down there with Councilor Morton and meeting with the mayors and seeing what's in store at the league. So that's coming up. Have a local event coming up. Highway 30 cruisers cruising the gut Friday night, trying to get a record cruise going, because the boosters used to do a car show back in the 80s, and we're trying to exceed that record.
Any old car work?
Any old car.
Any old
car. It doesn't even have to be old. I think any car that cruises down the road legally, of course, Chief Greenway, and obeys all laws, is welcome.
Where do you meet?
Dairy Delish and Eaton's Tires area. So it's going to be a fun family event, like always. It always is. So that is this Friday at starting at about 6:30ish. Yep. Come on out, bring the wife, kids, and check out some cool cars and great people, by the way. So I just want to, state that we have a really good administration here, that, this whole stuff that's been going on with the media lately, and it's getting election season, and it's getting goofy, and, I just got to continue to stay humble, stay grounded. We're just human beings, folks. We have families. We do have a life. We have to. We are elected officials, and we did sign up for this. But just know that we have your best interest at heart. There ain't nobody up here that this job is thankless. It takes a lot of time, and I don't mind it. I actually enjoy, and I enjoy trying to help the city out and move along. Like I said, my phone's always on me, and I get very limited phone calls, or when I do, I get misinformed. When I get misinformed and it's printed, then I don't like it, because it doesn't seem very fair. It seems very biased. So I just want to put that out there for the record, that everything I say sometimes is not clearly reported. So that being said, that's all I have to. We're adjourned.
That's hard.
Yep.
What happened to all the other?
Well, we got the executive session that goes into a separate deal.
I thought we were doing something else.
What else, Jenny? There's nothing on the agenda.
No, there's nothing on the